A factory producing garments for the Gap was raided, and children as young as 10 were found working under terrible conditions.
Has been caught using forced labor in Malaysia.
On Monday, June 25th, 79 teenagers held against their will and forced into prostitution were rescued at hotels, truck stops, and storefronts
There seems to be a perception out there that this only occurs abroad. This doesn't happen
After
in the
drugs,
United States,
humans
but
are the
as you
second
mentioned
most
before, that's
trafficked
not
item
the
in the
case.
world, and this is all happening right in your own backyard.
Hi, my name is Jesse Bach. I'm the Executive Director of the Imagine Foundation, and this is going to be a presentation to teach you about human trafficking and what you can do for it, or do to prevent it. Human trafficking occurs when someone is forced to work through fraud, threat of violence, or force for no money beyond subsistence. It's basically the modern terminology for slavery. When it comes down to it, slavery exists because we spend money. It's a crime of economics and human rights violations. Even though many people are confused and think that slavery is a crime of anger or a crime of hatred, it's simple dollars and cents. As of today, up to 27 million people are enslaved, which really means 1 in every 350 global citizens today is a slave. That's a very rough figure to comprehend, but when you look at the world's population divided by the accepted viewpoint that up to 27 million people are enslaved, it's give or take 1 in every 350 global citizens. Human trafficking includes debt bondage, organ trafficking, child sex trafficking, forced labor, agricultural slavery, involuntary domestic servitude, child soldiers, and forced prostitution. There's a number of ways that people can be exploited. These are just some of them. To put the numbers in perspective, this graphic represents the number of slaves in 1860 on your left. That's taken from the 1860 U.S. Census, and they said roughly there were 4 million slaves in the U.S. Now, when that's compared to the figure on the right, 27 million, you can see that's a significant growth in the time since the Civil War. Now, the good news is, while there's far more slaves today than at any point in human history, they represent a much smaller overall percentage of the population. That means that if people choose to act, there's many more people that can put an end to this. The bad news is, with increasing globalization and consumerism, the simple fact is slavery is going to get far worse unless people take action. Now, this is where most people get confused, because everybody thinks it's just an over-there situation, wherever the heck over there might actually be. It's important to remember that the Civil War didn't end slavery. Civil War only made it illegal. In October 2011, the Imagine Foundation Operation Broken Silence released the Cleveland Backpage Report. Our goal was to examine one of the websites known to sell people for commercial sex to see if it contained human trafficking. Unfortunately, it did.
Human Trafficking Resource Center. How may I help you?
Hi, my name's Jesse. I'm the Executive Director of the Imagine Foundation, and we are doing a study on Backpage.com in Cleveland, Ohio, and I came across a string of ads which are very suspect for human trafficking.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit more about the ads and what makes them particularly suspicious?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing this study right now, and first off, there are 5 individual girls tied to one single phone number.
Okay.
The phone number's area code is listed for Washington, D.C. The advertisements say that you have to book with their assistant named John, and none of the photos in the advertisements have faces shown. I can't tell from the advertisements that they're minors. All of them are turned around and their faces are hidden.
Okay.
I can't discern their ages in the photos. August 30th, 2011, the Plain Dealer reported Jay Han is arrested, and he's facing 10 to life in prison. Simple fact is, by examining situations like this, you can actually end slavery. Now, in our research, we found what's called a predictor. We looked at 6,000 distinct advertisements for commercial sex in Northeast Ohio. And when we plotted everything, we found that there were inordinate amounts of commercial sex coming out of affluent communities located on or near highways, with hotel motels directly off the off or on-ramp. During our 3-month data sample in Northeast Ohio, we found that the following communities were overly represented. The Cleveland Hopkins Airport had 568 advertisements posted. Beechwood had 249 advertisements posted. Independence had 274 advertisements posted, and the Menor Euclid Willoughby area had 669 distinctive advertisements posted for commercial sex. Now, it's important to realize that we're not saying that all of these advertisements were human trafficking. There is a definitive difference between prostitution and human trafficking. A trafficked victim is someone who has had their choice removed from them. A prostitute is someone who is doing this willingly. Now, of course, this gets into the big gray area if a prostitute can ever willingly make that decision, but at least for us, we make the distinction for when choice has been removed. Our data sample included 135 distinctive area codes for booking. 57% of the area codes represented used 216, which is Northeast Ohio's normal area code. Now, someone might say, well, why does this even matter? Trafficking quite often, not always, quite often requires movement to take place. And if people are willing prostitutes, you would think that they would be operating within, give or take, the area in which they live or have an established business. If someone is an unwilling participant, you would think they may be moved quite often. So while this does not distinctively say human trafficking, the different area codes, it is an interesting piece of information. The top 10 state area codes shown in our data samples were Florida, California, New York, Nevada, Texas, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, New Jersey, and Maryland. Now, while we can understand some of these area codes originated from states touching or nearby Ohio, quite a few of them are significant distances away. And again, someone may say, well, phone number area codes don't prove anything. You can use any area code. You can get a burner phone. You could use Google phone. And yes, we agree. While this does not definitively prove human trafficking, it's just an interesting fact that we uncovered during our research. The Trafficking in Persons Office in the U.S. State Department estimates that there's 17,500 people smuggled in yearly destined for one of the various forms of slavery. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Youth estimate that 100,000 to 300,000 American children are at risk for sex trafficking. Currently, there is no reliable number for estimating how many U.S. citizens are currently exploited. The only question is not if slavery exists, it's if you're going to stop it. In order to do this, don't buy sex. Take a stand and tell others to do the same. This includes pornography. This includes exotic dancing. It's rough to say this, but commercial sex provides a smokescreen for sex trafficking to occur. These advertisements for human trafficked victims are contained within prostitution advertisements. There's numerous cases of underage stripping. So this most simple thing is don't buy sex. Become an educated consumer. Check out this website, slaveryfootprint.org. It's really eye-opening. And read the list of goods produced by child and forced labor. Now, the simple fact is, not everybody buys sex, and even if you don't buy sex, you might be contributing to the problem by the money that you spend. So learn about it. Purchase fair trade products and locally grown produce. Fair trade means that producers get a fair wage for their product. They're less likely to use slave labor. Locally grown produce is also less likely to use slave labor. And the big ones are coffee and chocolate, two things that just about all of us love. There are numerous allegations against growers of both coffee and chocolate. Be careful with these two items. Definitely go fair trade and know where they come from. Also, ethical gold, gold and silver, and diamonds. Everybody knows blood diamonds from the movie, but very few people think about gold and silver. A lot of them are known to use forced labor. When you're buying gold, silver, go vintage. I mean, it's produced already. You could find some great deals. Or if you're going to buy new, go from a U.S. or Canadian supplier of mine. This also goes for people who invest in gold. It would be a shame to try to make a profit with the burgeoning U.S. or burgeoning precious metals market at the expense of exploiting others. Volunteer fundraise with an anti-trafficking organization. The simple fact of the matter is currently there's less than 100 beds for rescued people in the U.S. There's probably more beds for rescued dogs in your local animal shelter. And the modern abolition movement is roughly 10 years old. There's tremendous opportunities for you to do good. Please, please, please volunteer fundraise with an anti-trafficking organization. One of the biggest things is to tell others. Follow an abolition organization, retweet, share the status updates, share these videos. Social media, without question, is the abolitionist's best friend. The reason that many people don't hear about this is because the standard media does not cover this stuff. Social media allows you to get the word out. For further information, feel free to contact us. Our website is imaginefreedom.org, facebook.com/imaginebenefit, twitter.com/imaginebenefit, youtube.com/theimaginebenefit, and we want to thank you for being part of the solution.